Hey, I'm Tron and this is Word, the Bible, one chapter every day. This is Exodus chapter 34 with 35 verses. Moses has been invited back up on the mountain of God and to bring up something to replace what he broke on the way down in verse 4. So Moses chiseled out 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Early in the morning he climbed Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, and he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hands. Moses has wanted to see the Lord for a while. They have been in continuous communication since Moses encountered God in the burning bush. Moses has experienced the power of God, His miracles, His wisdom, His faithfulness, His wrath, and His friendship. But Moses has not really put a face to go with it. God has promised Moses he will catch a glimpse, and stays true to that promise in verse 6. The Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, "Yahweh, the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness." Moses puts this to the test when he pleads with God not to abandon his people on their path to the promised land in verse 9. And he said, "O Lord, if it is true that I found favor with you, then please travel with us. Yes, this is a stubborn and rebellious people, but please forgive our iniquity and our sins. Claim us as your own special possession." God listens to Moses and agrees to truly display his might among his people and accompany them on their journey. They should not make any deals with the inhabitants of Canaan. Pagan altars and instruments of worship had to be torn down. They must stay faithful to God in the new land, celebrate the feast of unleavened bread, dedicate the firstborn to the Lord, sacrifice to God in His presence, keep the weekly rest day dedicated to God, celebrate the festival of the harvest, appear 3 times annually before God, and no blood sacrifice with baked goods with yeast. Bring the best to the Lord and never cook a young goat in its mother's milk. The new covenant is made, and Moses brings some good news with him as he comes back down from Mount Sinai in verse 28. Moses remained there on the mountain with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. In all that time he ate no bread and drank no water. And the Lord wrote the terms of the covenant, the 10 commandments, on the stone tablets. This time, the tablets will stay intact and travel with the people of Israel. Moses has a major glow about him when he sees the camp after his latest mountaintop experience in verse 29. When Moses came down Mount Sinai carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant because he had spoken to the Lord. People are stunned, so Moses covers his face with a veil to not be a distraction from his ministry. Moses will call the community together to teach them in what God has instructed, but that is tomorrow in Exodus chapter 35. Until then, Word.